Gotta get started. PCT Section A. Get started on 109.5 miles. Thank you, Payday, for giving me a ride.
What it do?
Thank you, Melanie, for coming along. 2 ravens on the wall. A friend of mine over here tells me it's good luck. Hopefully it's a good omen for the rest of this trip. Alright, so in my first steps in PCT Section A. Just got dropped off at the southern terminus. Back up that way, you can still see the border. Feeling good today. I think I'm gonna make it. But we still got a long way to go. And just like that, I was off to conquer the greatest challenge that I've yet to bless myself with. I started much later than I expected, and my anxiety was boiling all night, keeping me awake. I was so grateful for my friends Payday and Melanie. The good vibes and music on our way to the southern terminus helped to ease my mind. Payday was my ride in, and if all goes well, he would be my ride out at the finish line. He was also my top flight rescue team if anything went wrong. This would be my first backpacking trip, and I knew 110 miles was a big undertaking for an egg like me, so the backup was much appreciated. Finally being here felt like a dream. I was floating for the first few miles until the heat finally got to me. I've been planning this trip for over a year, and I made a decision to go for it well before I thought I could actually pull it off. When I first heard about the PCT, my perspective was all wrong. I thought you had to be some sort of crazy super athlete to make it all the way, but the more I learned about it, the more I knew it was possible. The Pacific Crest Trail is 2,650 miles. It starts at the US-Mexico border here in Campo, California, just a few miles east of my hometown, San Diego. It cuts through California, Oregon, and ends in Washington at the northern US-Canada border. It is commonly divided into 29 sections, at about 50 to 150 miles each. Section A happens to go along the same hills and mountains that I started hiking in, mostly in the Cleveland National Forest. So starting here at the beginning just made sense to me. I plan to complete these sections as often as possible as the years go by, hopefully getting the whole thing done within my lifetime. Now the goal for this trip was to complete Section A from the southern terminus at the Mexican border to Warner Springs, a small town in the hills that I've only passed through a few times. At an average of 10 miles a day with 1 or 2 0 days, I plan to get it done in 10 to 12 days. This seemed to be reasonable considering room for error or injury and all the new weight on my back. Being a San Diego native, these hills felt familiar. I had been crawling all over them for the past few years as I was discovering my love for hiking. Me and the PCT had crossed paths many times, but it was different this time, knowing that I was going to sleep out here amongst all the plants, critters, and the fellow cryptids. Hey, so here on the PCT, just got started really at the first real break, about 4 miles in, up to this nice little stream here. 2 hours or so. Good so far, it's pretty warm out. I found this nice little shade, so I'm going to enjoy that for a bit before I keep on heading out. Goal is to hit, I think 11 and a half miles today or something like that. So we're almost halfway. So far so good though. Real happy. It wasn't long before I learned my first lesson. As the miles went by, I started to feel like my pack weight was going to be a real problem. Coming in at 37 pounds with 3 liters of water, it was much heavier than my goal of 30 pounds. I could feel the weight starting to slow me down after about mile 5 when I burned through the initial adrenaline rush. I couldn't help but think about all of the things that I knew that I didn't need, all the extras and items of convenience. I was really trying to leave behind those kinds of things, and I found it funny that the trip would have been much easier and more comfortable if I had brought less and not more. Now, the first spot that I decided to pick up water was a small murky trickle of a stream. Even after I filtered it, I could still taste the life in it. The refill made the trip feel real. Up to now, I had only filtered feral water twice. I kept telling myself to stop and enjoy the flowers, but taking my time is not usually a strength of mine. I tend to be impatient, but it helped knowing that today I didn't have to drive a few hours home after a long day of hiking. I felt like I was making real progress until I looked back and I could still see the border. I guess 30,000 steps wasn't as much as it feels like. By now, I was at a slow and steady pace, and it put me into that hiking trance that I love. Like a much-needed meditation, it helped to change my mindset from the city hustle to this new way of being that I was trying to get acclimated to. Already, I was coming across plants and flowers that I had yet to see before, or at least notice, and it was really day one when I decided to start learning the names of my new colorful friends. I never would have guessed how much plant diversity I would see out here in what felt like a desert, but here they were, thriving in bloom. I didn't know what to expect, and already I was adding to my list of lessons learned, but that was all a part of the plan. It is these trials that will prepare me to conquer the thousands of miles yet to complete before I leave this realm, but today I was getting tired. As I was approaching my planned site, I was getting excited to set up my tent and get comfortable in my quilt for my first night of sleep in the wild. Alright, good afternoon. So, at mile 9 about, I'm trekking for a good, 5.5 hours or so. It's about 5:20 right now. And sun's starting to go down, but I'm right on time. I'm about to hit my campsite that I had planned on in about a mile or so right on schedule. Everything's going great. I'm pretty happy. It's been a beautiful day. I reached the tent site at mile 11.4 at around 6:15 p.m. A group of about 3 other hikers were already set up and eating dinner, so I kept my camera off. I was really nervous, as I am normally very shy with strangers, but everyone was welcoming and friendly. Not only did they come from all over the world, I also noticed they were coming with different skill levels of preparedness, pack weights, and motivations. We were all figuring out one thing or another. One hiker, a friendly slender lady from Scotland, had a 45-pound pack. I thought I was pushing it, but we all gave our best advice to shed a little weight and comment on each other's gear setup. It was nice meeting other people that were as obsessed as me about planning their own hikes. I only planned for the first section, but these guys were hoping to go the distance, and their confidence was inspiring. We shared about all of the things we had to look forward to. We were all in agreement and excited for the milkshakes and cheeseburgers at the Lake Morena Malt Shop at mile 20. Sharing water, info, and encouragement helped us all settle in and get comfortable for bed by around 8. I was so happy for my first night under the stars.